Good afternoon. My name is Brian Gromkowski. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Graduate Admissions here at William Patterson University. I'm joined by Dr. Kim Louie, who is going to be speaking at length about our MSN program here at William Patterson in just a couple moments, as well as my colleague Christina Aiello, who is our liaison for the College of Science and Health. Just wanted to go over a couple little quick housekeeping issues before we jump right into the presentation. First thing I want to make sure you're aware is we are going to be recording this presentation in its entirety. Certainly, I know time is precious right now, and you may have family, work, a whole number of different obligations. So we want to make sure that we can get you information quickly and you can get back on your way. And we know that that might include you having to duck out early, or for some of you, perhaps joining us a little bit late. So we want you to have the opportunity when it's convenient for you to be able to sit down and take in any of this information or catch up on anything that you might have missed. So we'll be sending you an email that will include a link to our YouTube channel, and that's where you'll find the recording posted before the end of the week. You should get that email. Also want to make sure you know, obviously it's looking a little bit further out, but if you like the information that you hear today, if you want the opportunity to engage with our faculty further and talk about your interest in our program in greater detail, we are going to be having our next graduate open house, which is scheduled for Wednesday, August 12th. Now we are still waiting to determine if it's going to be held physically on campus based on the rules that are in place set by the governor, as well as the CDC and the Department of Health. If not, it would be in a virtual setting, not unlike what you're experiencing now. So you'll get more information about that event further down the line, but wanted you to have the opportunity to save the date, keep that in the back of your mind. That would be from 5 to 7 p.m. that evening. Lastly, can't thank you enough for giving up your time to be here with us. Certainly, as I mentioned, I know it goes without saying that a lot is going on. There are a lot of challenges right now for everyone, and we do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to my colleague. And just know that as we go through the presentation, if you do have any questions, you can type them in the chat box there on the GoToWebinar screen. My colleague Christina can be looking over those questions. If it's something case specific that she can just answer quickly for you, she'll do so. If it's something that needs to be addressed at the end of the presentation, we'll stick around for a couple minutes in case you do have any other questions. But certainly you're not here to listen to me talk, you're here to listen to Dr. Louie talk. So Dr. Louie, if you could go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. I'm so excited, and good afternoon, everyone, taking some time again. It is a really gorgeous day, and the fact that you're interested in continuing your education and your career is a good thing. It's important to investigate all programs. You need to reflect on your particular learning needs. There's some initiation of projects that we've done that I love to share with you, and most importantly, I want to talk about the MSN program here at William Patterson. We've been around almost 30 years now, so we're very proud of our program. And whether you heard from other students or the nurses, or whether you just happen to see the fact that we have an informational session when you Google, it really doesn't matter. But I'm just excited that if anything positive has happened as a result of this pandemic, the nursing profession has realized that we need more nurses. We need nurses at the undergraduate level. We need nurses at the graduate level. And I'll talk about the 4 programs, the 4 tracks that we have here at William Patterson. Again, I'll reiterate that we will be having some type of open house where basically the information that I'm sharing with you is going to take place August 12th. All right, so, okay. This is the graduate program, and this is me. I'm professor and director of the graduate program. I'm located, if some of you know our campus, in a beautiful university hall, but we won't talk about that since we can't go on campus at the moment. All right, we have 4 tracks, as I've mentioned to you before, for concentration. We have 2 advanced practice tracks, which is the adult GERI in primary care nurse practitioner, and the family nurse practitioner. We have the nursing education, and we have the nursing administration tracks. I'll go through some of these tracks. I'm not going to, you'll see the courses, but talk about the roles that some of our graduates have entered as a result of graduating with us. We also, all of these tracks have what we call a clinical component, where you work with a particular preceptor in the particular role. I guess we are accredited. We just finished our accreditation by CCNE, which is the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education for a total of 10 years. That's the highest level of accreditation you can get. So our master's programs, our undergraduate programs, we also have, and I'll explain a little bit later, if you're eligible for a postmaster's, if you already have a master's degree, you still can continue your education. That also has been approved till 2030. And we also have a Doctor of Nursing Practice program that's also been accredited to 2030. Well, right before I get to admission requirements, because that's usually, I'm trying to introduce some of the content based on some of the questions I get when you email me or when somebody calls me. I want to know about the program. What do I need to do to get in? Another fun thing or an exciting thing is that last year, 2019, our family nurse practitioner had 100% first-time pass rates. I think we had about 20 graduates, and our adult GERI nurse practitioner in primary care first-time pass rate was 89. So we're going to be working very hard on getting those that are interested in the adult track to move up towards the 100 measure. The other exciting thing, and I'll talk a little bit about it later, is now currently we have what we call an on-ground program, meaning that you do come to campus. We have what we refer to as a hybrid. Some of our courses currently are online. We have 3 fully online. We have face-to-face classes, and then later on in the specialization classes, like the MP courses, you might meet every other week kind of thing. So I'll talk a little bit about the on-ground and the online. The curriculum is exactly the same. There is no different. The admission requirements is exactly the same. It's just that William Patterson now has an online program as well as what we refer to as on-ground. All right, let me move into the admission requirements. They've been recently changed to be more streamlined. You won't have to send in as many things, but and this is competitive. We've really looked very hard at why certain things are admitted, why we're admitting certain things, and why what's important. So you need to, of course, all the applications to the graduate program is on our website. It's an online application, and the fee is $50. It is important if you're interested to get an application in, because this is where, like today's webinar, you get information on any current events that are happening. I know the graduate admissions group would like to know an email or a phone number, particularly an email where they could send this information. If you're coming into the master's program, you need a BSN transcript. A master's in nursing is predicated on a bachelor's in nursing. We do require, because of going back to graduate school, the courses are harder. They're different from the undergraduate, but they do tend to be harder. We want to make sure that you succeed in our program. So we need a B average, which is a 3.0. If you have less than a 3.0, you can email me, but we also will accept depending on the circumstances of that. So, but we do minimally a 3.0, but we have had students with a less than a 3.0. Because of the fact that most programs now do have courses, undergraduate programs have statistics. We do not have a graduate statistics. In our research course, we do review statistics. So it's important that you've had a statistics course in your BSN program. We health assessment, a separate health assessment, but if you can give me a course description, if the health assessment was integrated. But most nurses now, as far as skills level, need to understand how to do a head to toe. And then particularly in our nurse practitioner programs, we add additional skills and knowledge to advanced health assessment. And obviously in undergraduate research, we do have a research course on the graduate level. And in the class, we do develop what we call a proposal or a quality improvement project, because you're going to be expected, particularly as a master's student, that you're going to graduate with skills and knowledge in a particular role, like an MP, an educator, or administrator. But at the same time, you're going to be looked at as a leader, because in our profession, the data may be old, but less than 15% of over 3 million registered nurses have an advanced degree. So you're a precious few when you graduate from our program. I am asking for a resume, no longer an essay. I know some of you may have been looked at programs. We no longer an essay per se, but a resume. I need to see that you've had a minimum of 1 year of work experience and that, you know, the different kinds of jobs or leadership positions you may have had, maybe belonging to a professional organization or some certification at the baccalaureate. It shows your motivation for thinking ahead, continuing your career in the profession. And I had mentioned before the 1-year RN work experience. If you're sort of a new graduate, I will take that under consideration. But the thing about master's education is that nurses talk to nurses, and we sort of collaborate in class and talk about the different kinds of experiences. So that's why we're requiring that 1 year, and most graduate programs do that. In addition to what I've just shared before, right now we do require an active NJ license if you are coming to our on-ground program, because all of our clinical facilities, particularly the NP programs, because each state differs in their Nurse Practice Act in regards to advanced practice nursing. I know I've had a couple of nurses from New York who would say, oh, but gee, I have a New York license. I don't have an, even though they may live in New Jersey, that's why they're coming to our program. But I said, well, it won't be hard, but it's a good thing you mentioned it. Please ask, you know, go to the Board of Nursing and apply for a New Jersey license, because our faculty don't have a New York license. So we can't supervise you if you're in another state. So that's the reason for that. I mean, it's, and then those coming into the online program, our online MSN program, must have an active license in the state in which they reside in. We do, so we need to check to make sure that it's not only you have a license, but that you've renewed it in a timely way. All right, I mentioned a little bit about the fact that I would consider an applicant if maybe, you know, 5, 6, 15 years ago, you were a different person. And I've said this before, and it's getting to be, I don't let the GPA and your undergraduate program define your future. So if you really are motivated to come back to school and you said, gee, I got a 2.8, 2.9, 2.75, all right. But look at the things that I've done now. Again, if you come in, you would still take a graduate course, an MSN graduate course, as with the other students. And you need to show that you're going to do well, and that means at least earn a B or better in that course to remain in the program. We do have academic policies that would govern, you know, whether you stay in the program or you don't, but let's not talk about that. We are here for your success. We do have a lot of resources. I haven't listed all the resources on this webinar, but once you get enrolled and come into the program, we do have a nursing specific orientation, the library, or academic support, our writing people. Okay, so let me move on. I did mention about the prereqs. You'll be completing them the first year if you're missing them. So you would be admitted is the issue. All right, as I mentioned earlier before, there are 4 tracks. Some people call them majors, some call them concentration. I hope that you're on the line and that you particularly are interested in one of the 4 that we offer. The nursing education track, and I'll list some of the courses, is 35 credits. Our nursing administration track, 35 credits. And these obviously are pretty competitive with many of the other programs within the state. The adult gerontology nurse practitioner in primary care. We are currently not an acute care program where you can become a hospitalist and work in a hospital. Our nurse practitioners are AGNP. Nurse practitioners are in clinics, in doctor's office, nurse practitioner office. All right. We also have our family nurse practitioner, which is 47, because you're including OB and pediatrics in that. Whereas the adult, obviously, our adults today, as you know, in the hospital, cover, you know, the middle age all the way to 109 years old. So it's not the specialty per se. It's looking at the developmental age span and how that differs and what the nurse practitioner needs to pay attention to. All right. So let's just look at the way the courses are. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail with the course description. It's pretty common now that most of us that are CCNE accredited that we have what we call graduate core courses. This is no matter what your concentration is, that everyone gets the very first course is NUR 5001, which is referred to as the Theoretical Foundation for Nursing. So no matter what your concentration, this introduces you to the profession of nursing and how we differ from other disciplines. We do get into a bit of theory, which may not be your cup of tea, but we do get helping you with writing, having you reflect on moving the theories that we use for practice. All right, the 5081, which is what we call the role for the advanced practice nurse. Everyone does take that except for administrators. That doesn't make sense for them to take that course. That is a fully online course. So when you see on this slide where I have online, that's fully online. Whereas the first course now, the 5001, is basically every week, if we do get to go back on campus in the fall, which looks likely in some capacity. That is sort of it's 1 day a week. It's a 3-credit course, 1 day a week. We do start our on-ground programs at 5 o'clock. So one course is 5 to 7:30. This 5701 is another online course. It's a really interesting course. It's a lot with politics, legislation, social policy. And you can see where this is where the master's leadership comes in. We have a research course, which is face-to-face or on-ground. And then we have clinical courses, which everyone takes except for the nursing education track. And we'll explain, we put some of the clinical in another course for the nurse educators because it made sense. And then you wind up with the very last, what we call role practicum course. Those numbers, 7251, 7253, has to do with either your AGNP, FNP, nurse educator, or nurse administrator. Again, I just want to talk a little bit about each of the tracks. The nursing administration track, the students that entered this particular concentration, they do have to take the core courses first. These are what we refer to as sort of the specialty courses. After you've taken sort of like research and the theoretical foundation. So we reviewed this actually this spring, and there are basically 3 what called didactic. These courses generally can be hybrid. Faculty may meet every other week, face-to-face. This could be virtual face-to-face or physically face-to-face if you're able to come back on campus, because these are they're not all offered in the fall, but the progression changes. So you could just look at the courses. The nursing administrations are for mid-managers and as well as executives. If this is one of your aspirations. So the kinds of information about budgeting and policies, procedures, quality improvement, data analytics is very, very important because a lot of our nurse administrators are asked to look at the data on a weekly, if not on a daily basis, of patients' conditions and things like that. How do you analyze that? How do you come to some decision making in regards to that? We do have 170 hours in the actual role practicum course, in addition to the 604. So that's 340 hours of actual clinical. And I've seen programs that only have like 70 credits, but it may seem a lot. Yes, we do ask all of our students in any of the disciplines, in any of the concentrations, to initiate looking for a preceptor that they want to work with, because if we give you a preceptor, it may not be within 5 to 10 miles of your home. So it's always best if you, and successfully, I have to say, students do ask people that they know and say, hey, I'm a graduate student, I'm going to be doing my practicum in another semester. I really would love to not shadow. You're going to be doing projects in the nursing administration. It's mostly projects. You go to meetings with them. One unique thing about our nurse administration, which many of the students who are in our program value, is that it's a total of 9 credits. They're really sort of mini courses, I call them, 1.5, and an accounting course, marketing course, an economics course. So you could see that in addition to the nursing administration courses, you're going to be taking 9 credits from the College of Business. And why that's unique is because I've been hearing that many of the nursing administrators once they get their MSN, would like to go on for their MBA. You don't have to. So by taking these, what they call in the College of Business, these are your MBA foundation courses. So you would go right into the MBA because you've already taken these courses, and their MBA students have to take these exact courses. So when you register for these courses, you're sitting in with somebody from the MBA program in the College of Business. I can't, they just recently revamped these courses. I can't tell you if they're hybrid or online at the moment, but obviously if you're very interested, I can find out for you, and you can contact Brian or myself, and I'll give you some contact information at the end of the program. So again, just to reiterate, their nursing mission track is 35 credits, which includes our core courses, our clinical courses, our nursing courses, and 9 credits of the MBA courses. All right, let's move on. Our nursing education track is meant for our nurse faculty. Some of you are interested in being a nurse faculty. Some of you are interested in nursing education. The core courses, our graduate core courses and our specialty courses address curriculum design, evaluation, a lot of active teaching strategies, how to do a quality PowerPoint, and evaluation measures. So we do ask, because of our accreditation, and this is where some of the nurse educators really haven't quite understood, we do ask our nursing education, and this is with other programs too that are CCNE accredited, you must take advanced patho. You take advanced patho with our nurse practitioners. You also enroll in advanced health assessment of the adult client with our nurse practitioners. You also take our advanced pharmacology, which is online, that's purely online, taught by one of our pharmacists, or our PharmD actually. So these 3 we refer to, and you'll hear me say it, particularly when I get to the NP curriculum, these are the 3 Ps. It's pathology, pathophysiology, well, physical assessment, and pharmacology. And this is required for our NP program. The reason the CCNE accreditation has said nurse educators need to take that is because we need, as educators, not only defined by the role of being an expert and a qualified nurse educator, but we're also a clinical nurse. I mean, all of you work in the clinical setting, and they struggle. Some of our nurse educators do very well in these courses, and some, oh, I don't know why I'm here. Because this also allows the nurse educator to be able to teach these, particularly at the undergraduate level. A pharm course, because we offer that in our undergraduate program, health assessment we offer, but to see the degree of specificity. And then some of these, you're not going to be an APN. That's not the point of why these 3 Ps have been inserted in the nursing education program. As you can see from the nursing education courses, there's a curriculum. We do add evaluation. We don't have a separate evaluation course. They're integrated into the 3 nursing education courses. Okay, the curriculum, I mean, where does our lesson plans come from? It comes from a greater whole, and we talk a little bit about that. And that should happen also very much on the clinical service side. We have a classroom teaching strategies, which is a fun course. That course, most of our courses are 3 credits, except for the clinicals. They're 4 credits because of the number of hours we've inserted. And we feel very confident that you'll come out as a very novice, well, beginner, not novice beginner per se, but a qualified person who could probably, with some mentoring, really be able to teach it. Classroom is spelled wrong. In this 606-1, that course particularly, we talked about active teaching strategies, is a 45-hour clinical component. What we've done with our nurse educators is we asked some of our undergraduate nursing faculty to mentor or precept you for 45 hours. You go to the classroom with them. We might also, lately, we've been online this whole spring and summer, but also get you into some of our virtual classrooms, maybe some simulation. So those are clinical hours. That's why that's a 4-credit course and not a 3-credit course. We find that many of our nurses in the beginning who are interested, other than being a full-time nurse faculty, is that they like being with students. I mean, that's why if you had a resume, you could say, I've been a preceptor, for so-and-so program, for these students, they come onto the unit, I love teaching, that we find that many of our master's prepared, particular NPs, will take a part-time and take a group of undergraduate students. So in the clinical teaching strategies, that's why we have a separate course. How do you do conferences? How do you, what kind of assignments meet objectives? So it's not just taking them and asking them to do certain skills, but it's a little bit more comprehensive than that. So that's 35 credits with the 3 Ps. All right, let me move on to the nurse practitioner. As I said before, there are 2. We have the adult geriatric nurse practitioner in primary care. And their courses, they take the core courses, the theory course, the research course, the population health course, and the role course. And then they take the 3 Ps again. And then we have the specialty courses, which is down by the bottom, which is what we call, there are 2 for the AGNP, which focuses on adult. And I think the competency defines adult like late teens to all the way up to over 100 and something. So the 2 courses, the 6 credits, are broken down into systems. I can't remember which one is which. There's cardiac, endo, musculoskeletal. And then we reinforce the pharmacology, the management of that. And then you go into the other course, which is the 6121, which is you can do one or the other. It doesn't matter if you do the 612 or the 61. These courses particularly are hybrid in that they'll meet the first week, the second week we'll have an online, then the third week they come back and do a more face-to-face or virtual face-to-face if that happens. There are 3 clinical courses accompanying the AGNP, and each of the 4 credit courses are 170 hours. Okay, so you need to graduate in the adult NP 510 hours. The profession says that in order to sit for the national certification exam, you have a minimum of 500 direct patient hours. So we're just 10 hours over. We found that it's we don't need to increase it. I know in other programs they may increase it for a variety of reasons, but 89 pass rate isn't horrible. But if it starts dipping, we may have to consider maybe they need more experience working with a variety of patients over a variety of health conditions. Okay. Now this is the family nurse practitioners. You'll see some similarity where there's the 3 Ps in the core 3 Ps. Then you see the 6111, the 6121. Again, that's the adult portion. What we need to add to this is 8 additional credits, and the 8 additional credits come from the PEDS, the OB, the prenatal, postnatal courses. So that's only 8 additional courses on top of the AGNP. Again, instead of the 3 clinical courses, which are 4 credits, you're going to have 4. And that 4th, obviously, is going to be the PEDS. So these are the FNP. So that 680 hours for the FNP. It's a lot of hours, but you're from womb to tomb in regards to the management and health conditions as a family nurse practitioner. And as I said earlier, from the 2 national exams, national certification NP exams, we had 100% pass rate on both those exams. So we're pretty proud, and the hard work, many of the students, particularly the faculty. Okay, those were the MSN programs. Those programs you would qualify if you have a bachelor's degree and you want to come into a master's program. We also have a program where if you already have a master's degree, for instance, in 2 situations, I had nurse educators who said, you know, I really love clinical. I miss it a lot. I have my master's degree in nursing education. Oh, can I go for my NP? Yes, of course you can go for your NP, and that's what this is all about. We would look at your curriculum. If our students, particularly, let's say, oh, they had the 3 Ps, well, we would do what they call in the business a gap analysis. If they've had the 3 Ps within the last 6 years, the patho, the health assessment, and or pharmacology, we would take that right into consideration. And if our nurse educators were interested in the, let's say, AGNP, they would have to just do the specialty courses and the clinical. All right, so we have the list of all the courses that are required in order to sit for this certification. In another situation, we have students who are already adult nurse practitioners, adult GERI primary care, and they say, you know, I didn't think that I wanted to take care of kids, children, pediatric clients, but you know, I really do want the whole womb to tomb experience. So these are AGNP who have a master's and they want to now be a family nurse practitioner. So the fact that if they entered our program, they would have had all the specialty courses, the 3 Ps, they would only need to add the 8 credits. I hope I'm not confusing you, but the issue is if you came from the outside and you had your AGNP from another program, we would evaluate whether you have your active certification and which courses you need to continue so that you can sit for the FNP exam. So in the bottom, students in the postmaster's certificate program will complete the necessary theory and practical courses according to a gap analysis, which is just looking at courses that we may be able to substitute for in our program. Okay. All right, that's our postmasters. We also have a postmasters in nursing administration. If you have a master's, let's say in education, and all of a sudden you find challenging that you would like to be a manager of some sort, we would look at the courses that you've taken and the courses that are required. So we have postmasters programs in our program, and they are accredited. The NP programs is what they credit, the ANCC and the American Nurses Credentialing Center. All right, move on. I mentioned earlier that it's referred to as course delivery. We have 2 types of program at William Patterson University. In the graduate nursing program, you can choose on ground, that's the terminology now, where the courses are partially online, face-to-face, or hybrid. We go through the regular traditional 15 weeks, 16 weeks. You can enroll in 1 or 2 courses per semester. The other one, as I said, it's brand new. It's not going to start until fall. We're still working on some of the courses, but this is all the MSN courses that we went through, the various majors or concentration, are all online, but they are 7 weeks semesters, 1 week off, and then 7 weeks again. And this goes from January all the way to December. So it is really important to reflect and say, listen, I have a 1-year-old at home. I'm working nights. I've been thinking about going back to school. This is the time to do it, you know, or, I have people taking care of my parents or looking after them. And I really something from that they want to continue. So with the online program, it's 1 course every 7 weeks. And if you come in as a cohort or you come in as a group and you just move along, it's really similar to taking 2 courses traditionally a semester. Of course, if you're from out of state, it's not feasible for you to come into our on-ground program. Let's see, what else can I say about that? We do have a coordinator for the online program. It's in the contact information that I'm sharing with you. But we're just getting some of the information. They haven't even advertised for the online program. That's how new. But early next month, I think. But if you heard about it because either one of our current students, because I did mention it, just mentioned it to our students, that we have this online as well as on ground. I do want to mention that because most of you, probably if not all of you, are working full time, whether you're doing 312s, 410s, and traditional 8 hours a week kind of thing, most of our students do on our on-ground program start with 1 course. I mean, you may be in a hurry and say, oh, gee, I have all this time. I can take 2, 3 courses. It's not going to work. You're not going to enjoy it. Let me put it this way. I can put together a full-time curriculum, which is in the graduate education is 9 credits, minimum of 9 credits. If you're lucky enough not to be working, by all means, you could take 3 credits, 3 courses semester. I can give out the progression, but most will take 1 course or maybe 2 courses. I would recommend most students take Patho by themselves because that's like, I don't know, an exam, a quiz every other week. It's a lot. You can only imagine a memorization with advanced Patho. Some of you will love it and breeze through that course. Okay, let me see. Let me move on. In our financial aid department, If you're interested in a loan, a subsidy, a federal loan, you need to have be enrolled in 2 courses at a time. Some of you may have tuition reimbursement. It's something you probably need to contact your human resources. They're just different parameters. No one really pays up front anymore. And of late, because of the pandemic, most of the universities and even hospitals have lost quite a bit of money. So I'm not sure if you did have that upfront that they would pay. But most of the students that come to our program, it's if you need to get at least past the course and get a letter that you passed the course, then they would reimburse you. And if you just started working, you may have to wait 6 months. So please call your human resources. What I do have in this slide is what I call the Nurse Faculty Loan Program. It's a federal HRSA grant from the government, and we've had it over 10 years, or I've had it over 10 years. And these are for nursing students or graduate students who want to be a full-time faculty. There's a great shortage of nursing faculty. I don't know, you've probably seen it in the undergraduate, that we're still baby boomers. We're ready to retire, but we're not quite gonna retire yet. But we've been in a nurse faculty shortage for a while now. So this is federal money. There isn't a whole lot out there from the federal government anyway, where students upon graduation, for the money that I can give you to pay for tuition every semester for your courses, and including any fees, a reasonable, what they call educational expenses, then once you graduate, you have a 12-month, what we call grace period, where you don't have to pay anything. You have 12 months to look for a job, teaching either full-time as a faculty, not so much a clinical. This is meant for faculties in schools of nursing, associate degree, diploma, university. It doesn't mean that William Patterson has to hire you. And I do my best to look for this position, and the money that you borrow, depending on the number of years that you work full-time, gets canceled. For instance, at the end of the first year, let's say you find a position and you get, this is paperwork that goes back and forth. At the end of the first year, 20% of what you borrowed is canceled, eliminated, forgiven. At the end of the second year, 20, third year, another 20. So if you work 3 years as a full-time faculty, 60% of what you borrowed is totally forgiven, canceled, okay? At the end of the fourth year, 25% gets canceled. So that's 85% of what you borrow, completely just an interest gets canceled. So you only wind up paying 15% back to, actually you pay back to William Patterson, and then I put it in the pot and I give out that money for any future one. So it's called the NFLP. You can look at more information. You need to be registered for 6 credits. It's mostly for education students, I have to be honest with you. It doesn't make sense to be an NP and try and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go through the NP program and be a full-time faculty. It doesn't make sense. So it's, if you're interested in nursing education, we have some money for you. Again, there may be some federal loans, subsidies. You can contact, I think that, yeah, the number is 973-720-3945 is our financial aid department, but it's always better to email them, and I have the email down there. If you want, again, more information, you can just Google our website. As far as our tuition, and again, we haven't gotten the update for fall 2020, spring 2021. This is all I can give you at the moment. They give you an idea. The Board of Trustees has to meet in early July, but as far as our on-ground and our online, I think is going to differ somewhat. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but currently, of course, if you're going to register, you're going to come in the fall, so this will be a moot point. But the ballpark is around the 731 currently. And then if you're out of state, you can see the government fee is $4. They're really minimizing and really looking at any additional fees that they're asking graduate students or students in general of course, our clinical courses have a fee to the clinical course because we have to buy durable supplies and what have you. All right, so check in probably another second week of July. It should be out there, or you email me. I'll hold on to the email, and as soon as it comes out, I can get back to you Okay. All right. What else can we say about tuition? All right. All right, we're near the end. I'm surprised how fast it seems to go, but then I guess I'm the only one talking. All right, who to contact for further information? That's me on top, Dr. Kim Louie. I'm the program director, full professor. I put on ground program because I'm more familiar. That's what we were the only program, and that's my email. I prefer email. For some reason, I thought my phone was coming to my home, but apparently I've been told that it does not. So don't call me right now. Just use my email, and I usually get back to you within 24 hours. Dr. Cheryl Holloman has been appointed as the MSN online program coordinator, and that is her email. Again, I don't think her phone is hooked up to her home. And we have Jamie, who is our program assistant, who generally can answer a lot of inquiry question, and that is her email and that is her phone. So when we become operationalized, hopefully when we get back on campus, you know, please, you can use, some people are phone people, some people are not phone people. I'm going to ask you to use emails for now. So we're down to questions and answers. So I guess if there's anything in the chat box that has not been answered, I'd be glad to answer. We do have a bit of time.
I did have a
Yes.
question that came through, Dr. Louie, that Christine had recommended that you address. One
Sure.
student inquired, do you have a bridge program for RN to MSN for those who have another bachelor's degree?
No, that's probably something we probably need to tackle. A bridge program is that we do have an RN to BSN program. That's not the same thing. We also have an accelerated program if you don't have a nursing degree at all. It's one of those fast track programs if you have a bachelor's in another field, but you have a lot of your sciences, micro, what have you. It's called BBLs. We call it a fast track. If that person wants to email me, I can send it to the appropriate coordinator, but it's not quite the bridge that they're talking about, but it could be the interim.
Okay. And then the nurse faculty loan program that you referenced before, one student asked, is that only specific for William Patterson University or William Patterson students?
No. Many programs across the United States have the nurse faculty loan program. You need to ask. Not everyone, you have to apply for it and you have to go through a lot of paperwork. But since I've had it for over 10 years, and we just keep filling the pot back, you know. But yeah, many universities have it. Just call it NFLP.
And then another student asked, are there winter and summer courses available as a part of the curriculum?
Summer courses, definitely. What on ground, what we have, or the program that we've always been managing, is that we have practically every course in the fall is the same as the spring, because people get out of sync. And as I said earlier, they tend to take just one course a semester due to a myriad of reasons. Some will take two, and that's fine. Don't forget, you're working full time. And even though the courses are maybe 2.5 weeks per night, you should expect a minimum of at least 3 hours of homework, including reading assignments, group activities, and what have you. So most of I find the students, if they're not working the 12 hours on the weekend, they're squeezed, and you want to do well. I mean, you really do. In the summers, I do offer courses, but they're only clinical courses. So we offer clinical courses fall, spring, and summer. But I can't offer the theory courses during the summer. It really is too much. First, our summers are much shorter than our regular semesters. Now, with the online, as I said before, until we start getting some fact sheets out and things, you come in as a cohort, and every 7 weeks, it's something. It's 7 weeks clinical, 7 weeks the health assessment, it's 7 weeks theory, but it's online. You never have to leave your home. Whereas coming to class, and you have to kind of know the learner that you are. So yes, we do have courses in the summer, but those courses specifically right now are clinical courses. Okay.
And then this may, I don't know if this falls within your purview or if they need to speak to financial aid or another department, but is the loan forgiveness that was referenced earlier only for the tuition incurred for graduate studies? Do you know?
Basically, yes, any reasonable education courses. This is tuition, fees, books. That's basically it. I mean, I can't pay, the grant says particularly I cannot pay for travel or housing, but it's mostly like books and tuition. I usually give you a tad more, because you don't want to borrow more than you need. It's not, you know, that's the basic issue. Because anyone who's interested and eligible, I try to spread it for those that need it. And again, if you don't get a position as a full-time faculty, you do have to pay all of it back. That can hurt a bit, but okay. Anything else?
Yeah, another student was, if a student was to begin for the fall as an FNP student, they were just wondering what their schedule might look like, what they can anticipate in terms of how many courses or the times of day, or just a general feel for what their schedule might look like.
Oh, what an excellent question that is. We are accepting applications for fall, by the way. And our very first course, we always start with the NUR 5001 Theoretical Foundation. That course happens on ground. That happens to be meeting on a Monday from 5 to 7:30. And in that course, we do orientation. We get a lot of resources. We help you with writing. We sort of introduce you to what is it like being a graduate student. Some people have been out of school for a while, so this is important. For some of you that's been that's graduated from your baccalaureate, maybe 3 or 4 years, no big deal. You know how to get to the library online. You never have to step foot in a beautiful library, but I tell you, our librarians are a wonderful, wonderful resource, and they're there for you online. So we do orientation to the library. So if you're willing to take a second course, the second course I recommend, it depends right now, is maybe a patho course. That's going to be challenging. The patho course is offered on a Tuesday. That is definitely for the on-ground program, not online. I had an online program, a course, but right now it's full. I can't put you in a course that's full. But generally, our regular students, if you take 2 courses, I try to give you a face-to-face course and an online. So you're moving ahead, but people catch up later unless you're moving out of state or you're in a rush and you've waited so long. Like I said, most students do take 1 course a semester. So the first semester, I recommend either the 2 course or the 1 course for now, for this coming fall.
Thank you very much. And I think that's it. I think all the questions have been addressed as of right now. So what we'll do is, I'll stick around for a couple minutes in case anybody has any additional questions that come through. But otherwise, I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your schedule to join us for our webinar today. As I mentioned, I know this is a very busy time, in some ways a chaotic time. So we know your time is precious. We know you may have family or work or other obligations. So we thank you for giving up some of your time to join us. We hope this was a convenient way for you to get a lot of information in a relatively short amount of time. For anyone who might have joined us late, I just want to remind you that we did record this presentation in its entirety, and we are going to be making it available on our YouTube channel. You can be on the lookout for an email from our office that will give you a direct link. So if you join us a little bit late and you missed a couple slides, or if you had to duck out early and you want to catch up on the latter part of the presentation, we want to make sure that you're able to do so. Also, just want to remind you, if you joined us late, we're going to be having our next graduate open house on August 12th. If you liked what you heard here, if you're thinking about applying for the program for the fall or in the future, and you want more information and the chance to interact with our faculty a little bit further, we're still waiting to find out officially if that will be held on campus or if it will be in a virtual setting, but we'll certainly keep you posted on that. It's going to be August 12th, which is a Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. So just keep that on your radar as well. You'll be getting an email from our office about that. That officially concludes our presentation. Like I said, we'll stick around if you have just a couple questions that you wanted to get answered before you head on your way. But otherwise, as I mentioned, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the beautiful day. And if you haven't applied already, we certainly hope to see your application in the near future and look forward to being able to get back to campus so we can see you all in person and enjoy our beautiful campus this time of year. So thank you again. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Take care.